Every country around the world has their own language, or their own version of a language. But who can understand all of those languages? Every single one of them? No one can. The only thing I have found that can is music. If music is the universal language, why wouldn't we want to teach our children such a powerful language? A language that has been around for generations, that is a part of every culture. Music education is the way we teach youth to express themselves without judgment, how we bridge the gap between cultures. At this point, most people would launch into their arguments about how school music programs improve test scores and that schools with music programs have a higher graduation rate than schools without, or better attendance. I'm not going to tell you any more about any of that, because in preparing for this speech, I read an article in the Huffington Post in which the author said, if your state gets swept up in the winds of test dumpage, and suddenly tests are not driving your school, what will you say to the axe guy? Because tests or not, the axe guy is not going away anytime soon. If your big selling point for your program has been that it's actually test prep with a horn, you've made yourself dependent on the future of testing. That really doesn't make much sense. Music is so much more than test prep. Music is a huge part of our daily lives. It is in the movies we watch, the TV shows, and we can download it on our phones, get apps like Pandora or Spotify that are just music. Most people can recognize the theme song to their favorite TV show. To most people, listening to music brings joy or relief. Music says all the things that we don't know how to say. If just listening to music can bring a person that much joy or relief, just imagine what learning how to make music would be like to a student going through a rough time in their life. Imagine the smile on their face as they hold an instrument for the first time, or play an actual note instead of a squeak for the first time. Imagine a shy little boy who always sits in the back of class and hates getting called on. Imagine that same little boy joining his school's choir and coming out of his shell, making friends. That's the power of teaching music in our schools. Most schools heavily fund sports because they're supposed to teach sportsmanship and how to play on a team. But even still, in sports, when two teams compete, there's only one winner. When you play in a band, you learn a type of sportsmanship. The band is a whole, made of individual parts, and if one part is off, the whole band is off. In band, you learn how to play on a team, because when a group of bands or choirs give their all, everybody wins. Being in a band is similar to playing a team sport. You feel as if you're a part of something that is much bigger than you could ever be. The writer of the Huffington Post article said, I can't think of any other school subject that so completely fosters cooperation, collaboration, and connection between students. Students learn to help and mentor each other, support each other, lift each other up, and come together into something glorious and way, way cool. In all honesty, it isn't just music programs that are suffering. All creative classes are. Drama, choir, band, art, and shop, all of it. The classes that for students are a reprieve from the ones that they are forced to take and being tested in on an almost constant basis. A student named Lindy argued that schools shove it, music programs, aside because they can't test a child in these classes. They were only thinking about what can benefit the school district, not what benefits the students. Creativity is such an important aspect to learning, and the schools are robbing this ability from students. Without creativity, there is no inspiration, and without inspiration, there is no motivation. These classes give students who don't like school a reason to go to their other classes. Even though they're not taught in a traditional sense, they do teach essential math and reading. When a student starts in a music class in middle school, they're taught how to count time signatures, 442224 or 68, just to name a few, which is teaching fractions. Students who are part of a music program have an expanded vocabulary because they have to know what the vocabulary is to understand how to play the music. An example of this would be knowing what pianissimo is, which is very soft. On your music, it's marked as PP, or fortissimo, which on your music is marked as FF, which is very loud or exuberant. Students in choir have the same expanded vocabulary. Expanded vocabulary because as they read the lyrics, they experience new words, which will give them more confidence in their reading and speaking abilities. I bet you were wondering what, if anything, you can do to help solve this problem. You can do so much by just going to concerts, buying raffle tickets, going to a band car wash in the spring, or just spreading the news about upcoming events. Living in a community as small as ours, most of the musicians that get started in school will end up coming back and playing in professional groups like the Lincoln Pops Big Band or the Yachats Big Band. School music programs can be just as much of a source of immense school pride as a sports team. A band or choir concert brings in crowds of people who just want to support the program. Most artists can travel all over the world singing or performing the same songs in the same language, but people always seem to understand what's being said. Because music is the universal language. It goes anywhere and can speak to anyone. It's the language that says what you want to say, but you can't. Just going to concerts may not seem like you are doing very much for the band or music programs, but you are giving the band and music program the audience and credibility that it needs to come back to the education system. Music is a very large part of our day-to-day lives. We all like different types, but they all come from somewhere, usually from one common denominator. Learning about music is just one more way to tap into the history and cultures that have made this world what it is today. Music education is the way we teach youth to express themselves without judgment, and how we bridge the gap between cultures. If you were wondering how to begin supporting your local high school music department, the Newport High School Band Boosters are holding a big band blast with the jazz band on Saturday, March 19th at 7 p.m. at the Newport Middle School. Thank you.